Hola chamas y chamos, welcome back to a new episode of Álvaro Dev Labs. I am really excited about today's episode because we are gonna check out how to build a website using Nuxt and Storyblok. You're probably already familiar with what Nuxt is. They launched a new version recently, the Nuxt3 version using Vue 3. But I'm going to explain a little bit more what the Storyblok is. By the way, in case you don't know what Nuxt is, you can check one of my two videos that I launched the past weeks and get started with it before going to this video. So, Storyblok is an amazing headless CMS. What does it mean? It's a content management system that is a little bit different from technologies that we knew in the past. If you're a native developer like me, you probably know WordPress, Joomla, and those kind of CMS. So you remember the backend and the frontend were tightly coupled. They were living in the same repository, and in the places that you modified the content, you had the presentation layer. Headless is different because you can have backend or the content management system as a service, and you can serve it in any client that you want, being this the presentation layer. That means that no matter what the backend is, you can choose the frontend technology that you like. Storyblok achieved this in a really amazing way. It is ridiculously easy how you can get a new requirement for changing content from your team, let's say your product, and then apply the changes. It could be the development team or could be the content team through the CMS of Storyblok, and then voila, few minutes later, depending on the technologies that you use and your cloud system, voila, you have the results live in your page. In today's video, we're gonna use Nuxt as the client, and we're gonna use a module that it was recently cooked by the Storyblok team. Storyblok is cooking. Sorry, I needed to do it. Before starting, I want to show you the designs of the fictional landing page that we are gonna build today with the Storyblok and Nuxt. This is a fake product called Sushi Wood, which consists of a mobile application with several features, and we are gonna create a hero component in the Storyblok, and we are gonna pass the information through the content management system to edit the header or the title of the hero, some description here, and some CTA, so call to actions. And then we're gonna do this really nice section. There's like a feature section where we're gonna set an image and some items here from the Storyblok instance. First step is gonna take us to the Storyblok homepage, and I already have an account, but you should click here in Try Storyblok to set up an account if you don't have it yet. Since I have it, I'm just gonna log in, and this is a part where you check all user spaces. I already have one, for example, for my portfolio. And we are going to create a new one. In this case, you have several options like creating a new from scratch, duplicating one that you already have, or play with the demo. For now, let's create a new one. It's going to be called Sushi Wood. Create the space. So bam, we have it already. Let's try this Storyblok version 2. Ooh, looks nice. So here we have, I will explain a little bit like the different sections that are here. You will have your dashboard where you have a several, dashboard overview coming soon. Okay, let's go back to the version 1 to have everything available. So here you have all the API requests, the content, like all the KPIs for your space. Then you have the content where you actually define the pages for your content. We're gonna go back here a little bit later. And then you have tags, your assets where you can add your pictures, your videos, etc. And you have components. This one is important because here is where we are gonna define the components on our Nuxt application and create the schemas for the properties of each one. Then you have data sources. I'm not gonna cover this today. You have apps where you can get all sort of plugins and integrations with the Storyblok. It's impressive how much they have. And in settings, you can manage the overall things of your space, like the name, the location. We are gonna talk about it because this needs to be localhost. Okay, let's create the project. So we're gonna use a Nuxt3 to create a new application, and we're gonna call it Sushi Wood. Okay, that was fast. So let's code our Sushi Wood to open it in VS Code. Here is opening, and let's arrange this in a way that we can actually see the page here and the editor in this part. Okay. So as you can see, it's a really basic Nuxt application like the ones we have been creating in the other videos. What we're gonna do is first install the dependencies here. Let me see if I can have a little bit more space. I really have to zoom in so you can see it in the screen. So it's a little bit uncomfortable to work with, but I will do my best. So here, the first thing that we're gonna do is yarn to install all the dependencies that comes with the package JSON.
3 days later.
Okay, so I already installed everything. I'm just gonna add some more dependencies that I need for the project, which are Nuxt Windows CSS for styling. I use a lot the composable functions from Anfu from VueJS. Also some plugins for icons with Iconify. So let's install them, and don't worry, you're gonna have the complete setup of this GitHub repository link that I'm going to put in the description, so you can follow along with the tutorial.
3 weeks later.
To speed things up, I'm gonna show you what I actually prepare for the whole repository to work. So there are small details like using the dependencies and some configuration that I did already. As I say, everything is gonna be in the GitHub repository, so you only need to download it. I'm gonna go through a little bit what I did before we start. So in the app.vue, I added the title, which is Sushi Wood, and I added some classes to style it with the Windy CSS. In order to use it, I created a Windy CSS config.ts where I define the theme that we're gonna use. Let me refresh a little bit like the design. So we are gonna use a primary color, which is kind of like a shrimp color, so to speak. I got it from here. And we're gonna use some variations of it along with gray scale. So if we go back here, we have the black white that comes directly from the colors of Windy CSS. And we have this shrimp palette that I generate. There are some online generators for Tailwind palettes, so I used this one. Also, I added the fonts, which is font family sans for normal text, and for the displays I'm using doses. Also, I configured the screen sizes for the breakpoints, which are most standard, but I prefer to have them there. What else? TS config, I added the types for Nuxt Windows CSS. I also created a byte.config.ts in order to extend the functionality of it. I'm going to comment this one because we're not going to use it yet, but at least the purge icons to get access to a lot of icons, such as on demand. Okay, so we are creating or defining the config and passing the plugins. I guess you can do this also in the Nuxt config.ts here. I'm not completely sure. I know that here there is a byte property which has a config file, but if you create another byte.config.ts, it's gonna work. Also, I created a styles folder with some basic stuff. Here there is the base, which is important this URL for Google Fonts to add the fonts. And also in vendors, I have this animate.css that I just saw I forgot to import it. So let's import it here. This one is gonna help us to create animations and stuff. So that will be pretty much the pre-configuration. Now let's make sure it works as we expect. So yarn dev, and we are gonna open this in the browser. Okay, perfect. We have our title here. Next thing is we're gonna install the storyblok-nuxt module. So if you go to GitHub and you search for the Storyblok Nuxt and you click here in the dropdown and select the branch for Next, this is the version that works with Nuxt3. So amazing work. Kudos to Alex and the team for this amazing module because it works right away. We need to install it this way. So basically we will need to install two things, the storyblok-nuxt and Axis. Okay, so let's follow this tutorial here, and I'm basically in another terminal. Yeah, I'm gonna do yarn add storyblok-nuxt. Okay, once we have it, we go to our Nuxt configuration, and this is an important part. So in modules, we're gonna define our module for storyblok-nuxt and an access token. This access token is the primary thing or the key that connects our applications with our space that we created before here. Okay, so important security warning, don't put your access token on your repository. Why? Because then you will give access to anyone that sees a repository to your actual space, and we don't want that. So for security, let's do something. Let's add here an .n, okay? And we're gonna define API key, which is gonna be like a Storyblok API key, okay? And we're gonna go to this section here, and we are gonna copy and paste the preview one that we have here. So I'm gonna save it here, and here to access this, use it process. So we might need to do something else here. If I remember correctly, let me check something. I have another version that is working. Okay. So basically, we will need to define here a public runtime config, and here we are gonna put the API token, okay? But this API token, we call it Storyblok. Okay, let's follow the same naming convention, so API key. Okay, and this is gonna be the one that we are gonna use. So basically process here. Okay, I think this is to get access to it afterwards in some configurations. So let me check the end file. After that, we will need to change the location of the default environment. So right now it has like a quick start me Storyblok. We need to put HTTP localhost 3. Here you can define more preview URLs, but for now let's use only this one and click save. So content, we go to our page home. And what is that? It's exactly our application. Yes, it's been redirecting here, so that means that is working. You will be able to see your local host directly here on the Storyblok interface. How amazing is that? One more thing before we explain this part. In config, let's just put real path as this root. So we don't need to access to home directly to make it work. So let's save. And this is gonna make that the main page here in your Nuxt application is actually this one. Let's create a little bit of a structure in our Nuxt application. I'm just gonna create a layout. New layout default view, and a page index.view. So the page itself, we're gonna define a template, a script first. So composition, yeah, but I'm going to use a setup. So right now it's given a 404, maybe we need to restart it. So we have this script here and we are going to define a template. And this template is gonna be our home page. So let's call it just home. Okay, and the default layout, basically the layout is just a common UI UX designs that you have for several pages. For example, homepage could have a default layout, and then the articles could have a specific, or the recipes can have a specific UI. In order to reuse them as a template layouts, we are gonna define them here. So the same here, let's go for a TypeScript one and tweak it a little bit with setup. Remove this here and define a template. Okay, and the template of this one is basically gonna be like a div. We're gonna go to the page and we're gonna place a slot here. Planning to have the header of it here in this layout, so all the pages have it. So for now, let's create a header and we're gonna move whatever we put here in the app.view. We're gonna take it from here and we're gonna paste it here in the default. Here. Okay, so maybe we will need to use a div here. Okay, let's see why you are not working. So match found location with path config. Okay, I didn't add any strange character here, but this one has like a space. I think I made something wrong. Wait, so in the settings maybe I add, yeah, okay. Let's go back to home and now it should work. Okay, I was scared about that one. As in page, maybe we need to, the app.view, we need to put the Nuxt page here. Between a div, so we create a div and we put the Nuxt page. Okay, so now I can see actually the content of the homepage that we created here. So everything is set up and also we have our header that we are gonna modify just right now. For the header, let's create a component. Here, components, I'm gonna call it the header.view. Same structure as before, just a script tag. Let's use this one. Remove the rest, set up, and a template here. So this template is going to be a header. I'm going to create here a ref. Well, doesn't need to be a ref actually. Let's put it right here. So span align or div called logo, which is going to be sushi. Wood. Okay, let's remove the emoji because we also gonna have an SVG. So let's import the SVG for the public folder. So here you have the public folder and you only need to do this, I guess. Well, I don't remember if it's public directly. No, you're saying could be. Well, we need to add it to the page, maybe. That way we can see it. So here, instead of the header, let's take advantage of the auto importing that Nuxt have, and let's add the header here. Okay, more likely we can see our SVG here with the logo. So this header is gonna be of height, I don't know, 20 maybe. Let me put a border in the meantime, just to see it. So border, gray of 300. Okay, it's quite high. So maybe 16. Let's try with 12. Okay, more likely. So the logo we need to also define here. I'm just gonna have sushi wood logo and some classes. Age 4 and width 4. See, 2 is small, not good. 8 maybe. Oh, still small. 10. Okay, and we're gonna make this flexible and item center. For the image, we might want to separate a little bit for the right, so margin, too much. 4, maybe less, 2. And this bad boy is gonna be font display, also font extra bold. Yep. It's gonna have a text array, maybe 800. Okay, and looking good. Okay, we need to add a container here, a container class. So container mx auto. Okay, better. Why this container here? This container is just the wrapper if you're using a column system, and since our design is actually using one, I want to show you. Here we have 12 columns with some margins. I'm just gonna put every component between that. There are several ways of doing it. You can define it in the layout part, but I like to define it per component. Why? Because this allows you more flexibility if you want to have full width components, like we have this section here in the design. So this is a full width thing. So inside we can define the wrapper itself. That being said, let's go back here. We might want to remove this. We don't need it anymore. Okay, no border. Since we have a warning here, I didn't saw it, that we can remove the public because it's gonna serve it directly. So if we refresh here, yeah, it's working as expected. Now is when we get into the interesting part of the Storyblok and how it structures the content. So basically we have several definitions. We have the space, which is our project per se. In this case is sushi wood. It will contain all the content, all the blocks, all the components that we're gonna create. Then we have two types of components. This is important. There are the content type and there are blocks, which are nested. So the difference between them, think as content type as pages or anything that has like a template of properties, okay? So content type could be a post, could be articles, could be FAQ entry, etc. And then we have blocks. Blocks are like the hero component, the section that we're gonna build, the footer could be one, etc. So these are the ones that constructs the whole UI, and the content type is the pages, the recipes. In this case, for example, for our use case, we are gonna have a story or a page. Think of the story as a page, maybe, and say, okay, this story is gonna be recipes, and it was gonna contain several content types. So this is important to understand that everything, mostly everything in the Storyblok are components, okay? Also, content type and blocks contains something that is called schema, which is basically the structure of the data. And it will contain several fields, okay? So for example, a page content type could have a title, name, the slug, when it was created, and several more custom ones. So you can define fields depending on the fold types, like a single entry. Let's see in the Storyblok how many they have. Storyblok Documentation. Also, something that I really like about the Storyblok is that I have a really nice documentation. So if we go here and we go to structure of content, you're gonna see more or less where I was explaining in a more written way. And around here you will have the different types of fields like text area, images. This is important to understand the images because it's also part of the assets. Where are they? Here. Okay, so assets in Storyblok are files that you can upload, and everything that is uploaded to Storyblok is hosted in an infrastructure that delivered through a CDN. Okay, so this is important to understand. Then you have a lot of them. Okay, but this is the theory, how we can put it in practice, right? So let's go to our sushi wood and let's go back. And here in components, if I open it, you will see that it already has like a predefined components, and one of them is the actual page. So this is gonna be a really important component that we're gonna use in our Nuxt application. We need to create it just right now, okay? So the scheme is basically the body. This one, it doesn't need any configuration yet. Okay, so you can have like the display name, so yeah, you can put page, and even you can put like a template, a preview template, and so on. So save schema, and this is gonna be the display name that you can have. If you go to content, for example, you will see that this is like the home page, right? And the content type is page. So if we want to create another entry, and let's say we want to create the recipes or the about page, okay, this is going to be another content type, but it doesn't necessarily means that only the pages exist here. If I create a recipe in the future, this is going to be a content type, so I can create a folder here with all my posts or all my recipes, etc. So before we go into that, let's go to our Nuxt application, and we are going to create a component that is called page. Or we can edit this one to follow the same naming convention. Let's do that. So here in config, I'm going to create the page. So yeah, be aware, changing the technical name can take few minutes to update all content items. Since we have too little of them, it doesn't matter. So here, let's create, actually I don't like how I create this one. It should be the header, like this. Okay, we're gonna create another one that's called the page. .view. Same as before, just some script. Remove that one. We're gonna set the language to TypeScript. We're gonna call it setup, and in the template for now, you're gonna trust me. Okay, you're gonna see why this is structured before, but for now, don't worry about it. Don't worry about understanding it too much. Just copy what I'm doing. So we're gonna do a div here, and inside of that div, we are gonna set a component tag. So the benefit of using a component tag is that you can add through dynamically you can add any component. So here we could add, I don't know, the header, and this will become the header, okay? But we are gonna pass something. What it is, we need to define a prop. So const props is equal to define props, and we're gonna define one prop that is called block. Do you remember block from our diagram of structures? Well, the same one. So we're gonna define a block. What type it is an object. Okay, and the default, well, not default, but it is required. Okay, so we're gonna hit here, and where is block, just put block component. Okay, another property that we can put here is before block in block body. Yeah, I know it looks strange, but it has a meaning. Okay, as a key, we're gonna pass the block dot underscore ID, and we're gonna pass one attribute called block, a lot of blocks. Okay, I think we can even close this as a single tag component, and that will be fine. Okay, so how will this work? This basically, you're gonna pass a JSON object that is gonna pass as a prop for this exactly content type, this page. And then it's gonna render as much as components as you have you drag and drop in the editor. If we go there to the editor and home, we're actually not gonna be able to do anything yet, because even if we create the page component, it's not gonna magically bind with our instance. We need to fetch the data from the instance. For that, we're gonna go to index, which is our home page, and we're gonna set up this part to actually get something. We're gonna change it for a component again, but this time it's gonna be a little bit different. So we are gonna pass something that we are gonna fetch here. So first we will need to import useStoryApi from this here, the composables from storyblok-nuxt. And we're gonna trigger data from here. So useStoryblok-API, no, it's const storyblok-API. And from then I'm gonna copy this piece of code here. We're gonna do a fetch call with an await for a story API get, and this is gonna be the CDN for this page. So it's important in the stories you put the same name that is here in this log, is the home. And this here, this parameter, is that we're getting the draft version because we haven't published it yet, this page. This is for development only. If you actually want to pass the published version, you need to do it in production. This could be an environment variable that sets if it's in development or it's in production, and you get the proper one. So from here, we're gonna get a data object which contain our story or the structure of this page that we're gonna build with the editor. So we will need to create a variable to store it. In this case, I'm gonna create a state, which is gonna be a reactive object here, and it's gonna be instead of a block, it's not a block, it's a story. So it's gonna be data story. And here we're gonna call state.story.content, and we're gonna pass the component, which is component. And we're gonna pass two more, which are the key. So if I remember correctly, story content dot UID, and then we're gonna pass the block, which is state.story content itself. Okay, so let's save and see what happens. So right now we have nothing here, and that's because we haven't created these blocks right here into our Nuxt application, so we don't see any of them. This is the actual content that comes with this page. So that's why we don't see anything. But if we go here and we go to the draft JSON, these JSONs right here are actually what the API is going to return. So here that we are calling a storyblok get CDN stories home is gonna fetch this one, the version draft JSON API. If we're gonna click on it, let's see the structure that it holds. So this is a story, and inside of how, okay, the name, when it was created, published, yada 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 yada, and the content. So you can see here actually story content, and you start getting a sense of where each field comes into play here. The body is like an array, so that's cool. And these are the blocks right here, like the teaser component, which inside of it has another nestable component, which is a feature. These fields here are called editable fields, and we're gonna touch on that later. For now, we'll see more or less how the structure is, and this is exactly what is gonna be returned from the API call. So let's test exactly that. Let's go to network and let's refresh here. And let's look for a CDN. So home version draft right here. You can see exactly the same code in here. If we use the view dev tools, we're gonna see a Nuxt page, router view, Nuxt layout. And inside of a lot of them, the header, and then transition, because every page is transitioning, and the page. So here you can see that the prop that we define here on the page, this one, I already have the data. So we could even prompt it here, but that's not what we want. We want to actually render components. For that, here in the body, you can see the components that we have, which is a teaser and a grid. But we don't need them in our design. We need, let me get back to the design right here, as you would. We will need a hero component like this one. So let's create. We're gonna go back here, let's close this one for now. Go to the Storyblok and let's remove these blocks by default, okay? And let's save it. I'm gonna have the design just by my side to understand more or less the content that I want to create. Here, components, and let's create a component. So new component, and I'm gonna create the hero. This is not a content type, as we talked before. It's more like for blog posts or articles or stuff. This is just a nestable, maybe. Well, this one is not nestable. It's just the hero here and home. So next, and here's where we define the schema. The schema is just basically the fields. Let's enter a headline, for example, for this field here. We click add. We are gonna need also content text, which we can say is a description maybe. And if you click one of them, you are able to edit the field. You can change the type of it. So for the headline, and well, the second one could be a rich text or text area. But here are the different options. You can have even markdown, which is pretty cool. Numbers, booleans, plugins, you name it. Okay. So for now, let's go by text. You can also make this field translatable, and you can validate like the maximum characters that you want for content editors to not go crazy, especially in German. And the display name and a default value. For now, let's go to a schema again, and here we will need to change the description for another one, which is going to be text area, and two CTAs. So following the naming convention here, let's put more CTA label and download CTA label. So this is our plain text. I think we're pretty cool with it. Of course, you could create more complex fields here to define like what type of CTA options in your design system you want to apply, or you can leave that for the presentational level to do. Okay, for now we're gonna do it really simple. So save schema, and we have our hero here. In the config I like to put a display name. Cool. So now that we created, let's create it here in the Nuxt application. So new component, the hero dot view. Okay, so this hero dot view is gonna have a script template. No, this is the one that is more likely, and it's gonna be a setup. That's fine. The frame component, we don't need it. Template. Okay, this one, it will not be a component. This one, it will be a section, for example, or a hero. Okay, let's put it a class like hero. Let's define some things first, because this design. Okay, so we're gonna have an image here. The image could be also a field, now that I think, but since I wanted to have a wow effect, I'm probably gonna save it in the repo and do some parallax with it. But let's focus on this part right here. We're gonna have a section, probably full width. So let's do full width. Okay, and we are gonna divide it by 2, so it's probably gonna be a flex. Also thinking like in mobile, I'm gonna do a flex call first, and when it's bigger than SM, we're gonna do a flex row, most probably. Yeah, that's fine. Here, I'm also gonna do something. I'm gonna create a prop, and guess what the prop will be? A block of type object and require. So this is basically what is gonna give us all the content data that we define in a schema. So we take that and we're gonna create 2 sections of this. So both of them are gonna have like half of the size, but Emmet doesn't work well with those. Actually, with none of them. Let's see. Okay, fair enough. So this, let's put a half of each one. And when we are in SM, okay, so full when we are in mobile, but complete when we are here. That's fine. For the first one, it's gonna have an image. I'm gonna just leave it empty for now. So sushi graphics. And in this one, we're gonna put our content. So I'm gonna set an H1, and this is gonna have your favorite display. So a block, sorry, title, if I remember correctly. Okay, let's have a P tag with the rest. So if this is a text area, it doesn't have any rich text, so we're gonna use a P tag. So block dot description, and we are gonna have 2 CTAs. So probably let's create like a footer here with full. It's maybe flex, justify end. Okay, and we're gonna have 2 buttons. Really? And if I put it a class like this, okay. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so this one will have the first block, how we call it, The schema. More CTA. I wonder if it will work with like Pascal case here. I don't think so, but let's give it a try. So block more CTA level. Well, it all depends on here. We can check it before. And the first one is not is the more, and the other one is the download. Okay, let's have a little bit more space here. Also, for the design, we're gonna have this here. Okay, class font display. I'm gonna have it in primary, probably 400. Font bold. Yeah, font 4XL. Let's try it out. We're gonna fix the rest of the styles later. Let's see if it works. So to see it on our page, of course, if we go to content and we go to home, let's add a block. And here we have the hero component. We have it because, let me just save now. We made an error before. So whenever you define the components, in order to check be available there when adding a block, you need to set it to nestable here. So for me before it wasn't showing, so you need to check this box here before continuing. So it's available here in the editor. So now that is available, okay. Let's put the headline. I'm gonna just copy and paste whatever we have in the design. So here your favorite Japanese recipe app. It's an error. Some sushi loaded ipsum. That's fine. And learn more. Or download. Okay. Click save. As for refreshing, and you probably need to refresh also the Nuxt application to get the new component. So you will see they actually render something here. It's not rendered the title because I think we made a mistake. Here we call it headline and here is title. So let's change it real quick. And you see how quick the feedback is. You already have the title here, which is not quite correct in terms of styles, but okay. Also, I think that the buttons didn't work, or at least I cannot see them. So maybe it needs to be the same notation. So here, CTA label. Okay, there is the button, and CTA label here. Okay, so we have our hero component without the styles yet.
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new one.
So after a few details, this is the hero correctly styled. There's gonna be a link for a speed coding kind of video because it was too much content for this video to show how I style everything with Windows CSS. So if you want to check it out, the link is in the description. So now let's see how we can modify the content here. So if I put here your favorite sushi recipe app, I would expect that this title gets updated correctly, and it's not happening. If I save and then I refresh, I will see that the changes for me. So how can we make this a little bit better? That is kind of like what you see is what you get, instant feedback, okay? We need to do a few things. We need to go to our page. And here in our page, we are gonna use the unmounted hook, okay? So whenever we unmount this component, we are gonna use the useStoryBridge composable function. So this beauty right here, and when I say a beauty, it's because it's perfect for a composable function. We'll take the state story ID, and it's gonna pass you an event that is gonna update the actual story content. So let's save it. And we also need to go, it was this one, I don't know. Let me check my other project. I know we have to do something else. It's probably in the page itself, yeah, the page. So right now we are in the page. We're in the index, so let's go to the page. And here, in our div, we need to set this directive right here. So be editable block. Let's save it. Just in case, let's refresh the page. That's fine. And now let's see if we can, voila. We can change the content directly and have the feedback just updated in our application. So this will work with all of the items here, like learn more. Let's say we want to put more details. You see how easy it is to change the content and see the things being updated. And that's basically the magic of using Storyblok. It's really nice to see the changes right here. You have all your content items and an instant visual feedback right here. Now let's see what we need to do for the next component. So the next component is basically like a section that has a headline, and we're gonna do something really cool here that is nest a block between a block. So these are gonna be different blocks that are gonna live outside, and we're gonna also try to embed an image. So I'm going to export it as a PNG. It's gonna be sushi wood iPhone. Yeah. Okay, let's save it. Okay, so how we do this? First of all, let's go here. You haven't sent. I don't want to. Remember always to save. Let's go back and we go to our components and we're gonna create a new one. So this one is going to be called the features. Okay. Remember to set it as nestable. And then next, let's put it a headline. And we need a media item. So let's call it media, and we're gonna select, where are you, an asset. So this asset needs to be an image, asset folder. I think we're gonna leave it that way. And another thing that we need here, here are the feature list. Oh, my dyslexia today is beautiful. So feature list, and this is gonna be type blocks. Okay, perfect. Feature list, type blocks. Okay, save schema. Now let's define another schema for our cards that define each feature. So this one's right here, each one of them. Let's treat it as a block itself. So it's gonna go here, and we are gonna define a name, which is gonna be feature card maybe. And here we're gonna put a label, and we're gonna put an icon. And in icon, we are gonna select also asset. Let's save the assets here in Storyblok. We're gonna save. Okay, so next thing is let's create a component itself. For that, we're gonna go here, new file, the features. So the same as we call it here, the features. And I'm gonna copy paste some of the parts here. So basically the whole thing. Just let's change the section right here. And probably the styles. We don't need the same styles. Okay, that's cool. Let's save it for now. This is the feature list. Okay, let's create another component that is going to be feature card .view. Okay, and this is going to be a small. Let's put maybe an article. No, let's do a light item. So this light item is gonna have icon, which is, yeah, we need to put it like an image, I guess. And it's gonna take blog dot icon. And here, well, both of them will need to be props. So this one will be the blog label, and just below here we're gonna set yeah, maybe a span with label. So blog label. So this is gonna be a, let's put some classes here and open our design. It's gonna have like a rounded gray thing, which is fine. So this is gonna be like let's put a padding of 4. It's gonna be an inline flex component, and it's gonna be flex, but flex call. Probably item center. See if that works. Rounded LG border 2. And if you put in directly border 2 will work. Border gray 50 is fine. Okay, and this here is gonna have a type of font. This is this. So it's the font display. So font display, font extra bold, but I guess it's a small. Let's put a text SM for now, and text gray 50. Okay, let's see if that works. So we have the feature card and we have the features. So in the features, let's create a div or maybe a section. No, please. Okay. I'm gonna call the class feature list, and inside of it we're gonna create an H1 or not H2, and it's gonna be the blog headline. Let's make sure because the last time we put a title. So if I add another one, which is the features, okay, it's headline, so that's fine. Headline, and we're gonna have an image. So this is gonna be like separated in 2 grids. So we also would like to wrap it. So container, MX auto. Okay, and it's gonna be flex. It's gonna be flex call in the beginning, and maybe a medium or SM. We're gonna do it in flex call. row, sorry. Okay, and save it two of these. Okay, and this one is gonna be this. Here we're gonna put an image of basically media. So block media. We haven't put anything here, so it's gonna be like features, media image. Okay. Here we are gonna put the headline itself. So the headline does have some classes, which is font, extra bold, font display, maybe a text for Excel, 3 Excel, text gray, 100, 50. This feature list, let's put a background of a shrimp for 100 and just padding Y of 16. How much the hero has? Yeah, okay. So headline, I said it here, we probably will need to restart our Nuxt application. And here we're gonna select unleash your creativity while cooking. In the media, let's upload the, let's pass it here, open. Okay, confirm advanced options. Oh, okay, maybe this is not gonna work as I expect, but let's see how it works then. So alt, let's put sushi wood app on iPhone 13. Title caption. Okay, confirm. So it's uploading the media and it creates the component itself, which is nice. But I already can see that that is not parsing correctly the image here. So it's not media, media probably is an object. So let's see how the structure of the JSON object is. So we go here and the page, more details. It's not updated and save, maybe. Okay, where are you? Okay, here, media. So media will have name, file name. So blog media, file name. We maybe want to do something like if here. Okay. Then we have blog media, and yeah, we're gonna use blog media alt here. And set it as a prop. Okay, so now we have it, but we have it in this side of the screen. So because here we don't have anything, I guess. So let's use loop. Block the headline here. Let's see what happens. Okay, here is showing. Why is not showing here? Okay, a little bit of delay. But even so, it's not taking the row correctly because we have a typo here with the space. So that looks about right. The problem with sharing the screen like this is that I cannot properly see it, so I need to see it here. Okay. Maybe we can put something like justify this image. is here. So maybe we can put it at the end, like flex, justify end. That's a little bit better. Now let's create a list here. So for the list, I'm totally improvising this part because I haven't done it yet before. Here we're gonna have a UL, which is gonna have each one of the components inside. So this is gonna be like feature list. So it's gonna be flex, probably be full, and inside of this one, let's see how this comes. So feature list is gonna be an array, but we haven't defined array yet because we need to add a block, a feature card, and this feature card is gonna have a label. Okay, that's nice. Let's start creating the content. So I'm gonna export this icon. Yeah. So export ramen. Then this little one here, onigiri, and the emojis. Okay. For this one, I'm gonna do this. So these are the three of them. Yummy, and we upload the icon itself. So the icon for this one is ramen. Confirm. As I guess here inside of feature card, it's gonna happen something similar here. So it's gonna be like finally, I guess, which is fine. Okay, so this is one of them. Let's create another one, which is gonna be another feature card. This one is gonna be tasty. So upload another item, so the onigiri. Confirm. Let's save everything just in case. And another one, feature card. This one I repeated here, but let's put like friendly because this mochi looks really friendly from each other. So friendly. We're gonna use the mochis here. Confirm. Let's go here. So save, and if we refresh here, we're gonna see the feature list. So the feature list is basically other types of blocks. So what we can do here in the feature is, let's try something really cool. Component. Before feature in block feature list. Let's put it a key. Have a typo here. This is gonna be block. No feature. UID maybe. Okay. So we have a component feature card. So we need to pass for each one of them is. Okay. And the is the component itself, which is this one. So we're gonna do feature, this component, and we're gonna pass another block, which is the feature itself. Okay, let's see if that works. Element is missing and tag. Yeah, it is. What else do you know? Because I'm stupid as... Of course, if I put block here, that doesn't exist. So we need to change it for block. Okay. Let's remove this bad boy here. And here we have a little less fancy than I thought, but I can work with that. So headline, margin bottom, 8. Okay, maybe a little bit of margin between each one of them, so let's put some... Yeah, maybe it's better to put a grid though, and not a UI. Yeah. Let's put a div, and let's put instead of this, grid. I never remember the... Yeah, this one. And if I put gap, amazing. Okay, features, we can remove the here, and because it doesn't make sense anymore. Well, basically we could have a UL here. That doesn't matter. Okay, the icon is maybe too big, so we can set some styles here and say, okay, the class width 8, height 8. Too small? Okay. Let's put some margin below. And in the design, they were a little bit down. Yeah. So basically we can do two things. We could on this UL put some padding, which is basically what I'm gonna do. Or we can treat this one as a flex call, justify between. Will not be that. Flex. Yeah. Okay. Let's see how responsive is to changes. So I will put hot here, and yeah, it is. Let's see if I can put an emoji. Can I put an emoji here? Seems like not. Let me copy from here. Emoji. So let's put hot. Yeah, fire. This one. And this one copy. Paste it here. Oh, it works. Perfect. And this wrap up what we had for the part 1 of the series Storyblok plus Nuxt. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do, please subscribe and drop a like. It means a lot. In the second part, we're gonna check out how to create recipes using content types and edit it into our webpage. See you in the next one. Bye!